Hey, what's going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome back to the Fantasy Headliners. And as free agency rolls on in the NFL, we've got ourselves another signing that we need to talk about. And this time, it's Melvin Gordon leaving the Los Angeles Chargers and heading to an interdivision rival with the Denver Broncos. That's right, Denver investing in Melvin Gordon, and I'm really interested for you Denver fans out there, any Broncos fans that watch this video, I need to know in the comments below, what do you think about this signing? I personally, I'll give you a little bit more of my thoughts here in a minute, but it caught me off guard. Let's take a look at some of the stats from last year for Melvin Gordon here real quick. Signing with the Broncos, 2 years, $16 million. 2 years. Why? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there with John Elway. I don't know if he wants the name factor or what it is. When I heard that he had signed with Denver, I said, okay, 1 year deal probably. Nope, 2 years. And $14.5 million of that is guaranteed. Now, if you remember last year, Melvin Gordon did hold out to start the season. Okay, wanted that long-term deal, was looking for it there with the Los Angeles Chargers. It did not happen. He tried to force their hand, potentially a trade. It did not happen. So now, even though he bet on himself, said, I'm going to hold out, I'm going to get that deal, he doesn't really get that deal. 2019 stats, he did end up playing in 12 games. He had 162 attempts, 612 yards. Not bad. 3.8 yards per attempt. Okay. So yards per attempt are not everything, and I don't try to make it everything either. But at times, Gordon last year maybe was a little sluggish. He didn't look like his former self. His longest run last year, 24 yards. So what are we going to get from him this year? He's a guy that's been used a lot. Yeah, he's had some injuries pop up, and he's missed some games in the past, but he's a guy that Los Angeles fed and fed and fed and fed. So is he starting to wear down a little bit? So the 3.8 yards per attempt, some of that is probably due to the, maybe a little bit of a sluggish start, coming back, trying to get back into the groove of things, get back in game shape. That can happen. But the team around him obviously was very good. I mean, Keenan Allen had another really good year. Mike Williams had a pretty decent year. Not what a lot of people expected, but still a decent year. Austin Eckler had a fantastic season. And all of this was with Phillip Rivers, who honestly just was not himself and was okay at best at times last season. So people around him were still able to perform. So I'm not saying that the offensive line or anything was bad last year, because the people around him were playing well. 55 targets, 42 receptions, 296 yards, and a touchdown. So he still contributed in the passing game as well. Now, here's the thing with the Broncos, and this is probably why I am so shocked by this signing, because current Broncos running backs, they've got 2 good running backs on the roster already who are in their just in their 3rd year. Philip Lindsay in his 2nd year, a great season, 192 attempts, 1,037 yards, 9 touchdowns, rushed for over 5 yards per attempt. Also in the passing game did well. Caught 35 of his 47 targets, 241 yards, and a touchdown. So Lindsay did a lot of good things last season. That, the undrafted free agent, the guy that, has kind of broken some of those barriers down for some of these undrafted free agents to come into the league and perform very well. He's done excellent for Denver. Royce Freeman didn't have a great rookie season. Okay, 2018 was not great for him. That happens, but he was not put into a position to succeed either. When he got the ball, he was already set up for failure. If you look at some of those stats, he had the 3rd highest percentage of stacked boxes in 2018. That's 8+ defenders in the box with him. So every time, basically, he was handed the ball, he was facing 8 or more defenders in the box. People were ready for it. If Royce Freeman was on the field, it was going to be a running situation. That's what they keyed on. So not great, but last year the new coaching staff put him in a little bit better position. 130 attempts, 521 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 yards per attempt. This was definitely a tandem that I was looking at this season, is taking an even bigger step forward. They have a good team around them. I'm excited to watch Denver. That's going to be a tough division this year, I believe. Drew Lock, I do like Drew Lock. I think he's definitely going to be the answer for them at quarterback. I don't think he's going to be like a superstar quarterback, but I definitely think he's going to be more more than good enough to lead that team to quite a few victories and have a really good offense. Cortland Sutton had a big year breaking out last year. I believe, and no, Fant, don't forget about Fant either. I mean, they've got weapons around them too. Phillip Lindsay in the passing game, some other guys like a Deshaun Hamilton. They have plenty of weapons there in Denver to keep teams honest. They're not going to be able to just stack the box on these guys anymore as long as they use creative gameplay and they keep the team off balance with what they're doing. So Lindsay and Freeman, I think, were set for a really good year, but now you add in Melvin Gordon. Now you've got 3 running backs that can carry the load, and this is, at this point, a full-fledged running back by committee. The one thing I did want to check on as well with this team is in 2019, the teams within the division, how good were they against the run? Did that maybe influence some of the stats a little bit? And honestly, it wasn't that bad. Kansas City gave up the 7th most, and that was the lowest in the division. So 7th most, 128.2 rush yards per game. The Chargers gave up 112.8 rush yards per game. That was about middle of the pack. And then the Las Vegas Rams, Las Vegas, still weird to say, not Rams, the Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me. I got the Las Vegas right. I messed up the team name. The Las Vegas Raiders, 98.1 yards per game. So their rushing defense was a little bit better. They were towards the top. They were in the top third of rush yards per game. So obviously we won't see the same exact numbers this year, right? Because the defense has improved a little bit already. But last year too, I mean, these running backs, it wasn't just because they were playing in a really easy division or anything like that. They had a good season. These were guys that worked effectively together, and I was looking forward to another step forward. Don't forget, okay, there's going to be a huge change in the altitude for Melvin Gordon now at this point. He's going to play half of his games at home in Denver, where the altitude is 1 mile, right? Mile High City, 1 mile above sea level. He's coming from Los Angeles, where Los Angeles, in places, 285 feet. Okay? 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Places in Los Angeles, their altitude, 285 feet. Okay? That is a huge jump. I'm not going to step up on a soapbox right now and say that that's going to make all the difference, but I think Melvin Gordon's going to have to get to Denver and get training and get used to that altitude. I think he's going to have to do it, and I think you could see him at the beginning of the year. I think you could see him maybe working through that a little bit as well and have to get to a point where he gets comfortable with the atmosphere that he's playing in and understands that. Lindsay and Freeman have already been doing it. So Gordon may start a little slow to begin the year, and they might just take it easy with him too. They might not throw him out there as much as possible, but quite honestly, this is going to be a full-fledged running back by committee. There's no doubt about it. All 3 of these guys are going to get workload. Royce Freeman, honestly, is a Royce Freeman fan. I would love to see them trade him at some point in time and get him out of there and get him into a situation that's much, much better for him. So from a real life from a real life standpoint, money probably could have been spent better elsewhere, to be honest with you. I don't think they needed Melvin Gordon. I think they had 2 really good running backs already, especially on a 2-year deal. So I don't really get that signing. From a fantasy football perspective, we're basically going to have to just steer clear of this. Yes, you're going to want to draft Melvin Gordon. Yes, you're going to want to draft Phillip Lindsay. But quite honestly, if you get both of those guys, Phillip Lindsay in a PPR league may still be like a running back 2 low end. Melvin Gordon may be like a mid running back 2 for me next year, mid at best at this point. Don't love the situation for him or that committee, but it should still be a pretty good offense. So we'll see what happens as things break down further into the offseason. But like I said, if you're a Broncos fan, let me know in the comments below. I want to hear from you and see what your thoughts are on this signing and get your feedback as well. And don't forget as well, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become a part of Headliner Nation today. Also hit the like button, give the video a thumbs up. Really appreciate that as well. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Fantasy Headliners. I'll catch you on the next one.